My name is Joshua Kwaku Asiedu, and I was born in Italy from my Italian mother, raised partially there as well. And my father is from Ghana, from the Aquape Mountains, a beautiful area called Latte. And I decided to come here about a couple of years ago. And what brought me here is literally this land that I'm sitting on while I'm talking and introducing myself. Is the land that my same great grandparents left in heritage to the next upcoming generation. My great grandfather Yao Chame Asiedu and my great grandmother Nankor Asiedu, they both left this piece of land, not only this piece of land, more pieces of land, but right now we are talking about this one, in order to give the opportunity to the next upcoming generation to do something. The main reason that brought them here was cocoa, cacao. Everybody around the world loves chocolate, but not so many knows where chocolate is actually coming from, and is eventually coming from most of the cacao in the world is actually coming from Ghana, from West Africa, about 70-80%, I guess, from Ghana itself. So yeah, this is the reason they brought them here, and indeed all these trees are still around. As well, what brought me here was to reconnect to a more rural and natural way of living. A way of living that was more simple than the Western environment where I grew up in Italy. And an environment that was definitely not so suitable for me, an environment that was more imprinted into a sort of materialistic and superficial way of being. But reconnecting to nature was always something that called me, to the point that I decided to truly move back to the roots. Which better place where to root in oneself than the land that gave birth to humanity itself, Africa, Mother Africa. And I felt so privileged to be connected directly to the continent, not only to the continent, but even to this beautiful area as West Africa, as Ghana, that is really tremendously rich in resources. Not only food, but even resources as minerals, as whatever we might think that eventually will create a luxurious way of living, a luxurious even product, eventually is coming from the land, and not only from the land, but from the continent. Most of it is coming from the continent. And Ghana definitely holds a lot of beautiful resources. So I decided to reconnect to the land, to my African Ghanaian roots, but especially to the roots of humanity, that in my opinion, in my experience, are truly based in simplicity, the key to prosperity. So I'm usually cooking with charcoal. I prefer firewood, but lately it was raining and all the firewood got wet. So right now it's getting drier. So I still have charcoal, and this charcoal is actually coming from these hills. My uncle actually made it, Uncle Kofi. I decided to move off the grid mainly, yes, because I wanted to reconnect to the simple way, as I mentioned before, as well because when we observe and analyze the way of living in the West, that is pretty much not off grid, it connects to a sort of exploitation as well. All the nice comforts that we might have on the other side of the ocean are mainly coming from resources from the land, but not only from natural resources, but even from people, from labor. And every little tiny items has a story behind. And often we don't ask ourselves what is the story. The same with cacao. What is the story behind a chocolate bar? What is the story, literally, the chocolate bar that we love so much? Who is the person that worked in order to get the cacao out of the tree and then eventually processed and all that? So that story is not so bright as it might look like the final product. Most of these stories are quite unethical. Most of these stories are um, quite exploitative as well. And so eventually with that lifestyle, there's a sort of I mean, first of all, I guess it needs to be understood that that lifestyle is a strictly consequence of colonization. Colonization is what brought globalization. Colonization was, I guess, a sort of needed action from the Europeans on those days in order to get more resources that eventually were not available in Europe. Because, frankly talking, every other environment, like the African environment, when it comes to resources, is not even comparable to Europe. Like right here, I can pretty much grow all year round. In places like in the West, there's a lot of limitation when it comes to self-sustainability. So when the colonizers started to go around the world, they were looking for goods, for lands, for resources in order to improve eventually their lifestyle, still in a sort of materialistic way, but that's what they were looking for. And eventually they colonized whom? They colonized indigenous people all around the world. And these people were eventually put into labors. Some people, like in Africa, were eventually brought into slavery, and so they eventually create this sort of capitalist system, materialistic system that is very imprinted and rooted into racism. And so having the direct access to the resources is what allows me to truly be free. I left Italy about 10 years ago, and I was really willing to experience different lifestyle, different realities, different ways of being. I was coming from suburbs of Milan. I was coming from Milan, but actually the province, place, a little town that is on the province of Milan. And so therefore I decided to leave, and this brought me actually to Greece. I meant to be there for like 3 months. This brought me to London. London was very interesting because it was a very perfect representation of a cosmopolitan place, as well very capitalist, consumeristic place, a place that really sucks all the juices out of one individual. Yet it allowed me to get to know so many people from all over the world. It was for me a eye-opening experience itself. I was meeting people from literally all over the world with different mindsets, different cultures. I heard that the Aboriginal people of Australia were still alive, still holding to their culture, to their beliefs. That's what I heard from the faraway UK. And so, but when I landed in Australia, I landed in a city. It was called Brisbane. So I worked there in a restaurant, and I was just kind of hustling there, here and there, until after few movements, few changes, I ended up in a dairy farm. But eventually, there was one main experience that eventually shaped my whole views, that brought me here, which is when I went to Northern Territory. Northern Territory is a region, is a state of Australia, is where pretty much all the Aboriginal people has been pushed away to. It's a very rough environment, very kind of low in resources, but if there's enough knowledge, there's of course a lot of resources. And Aboriginal people, they knew a lot, therefore it's a rich environment for them. And so from that, I ended up in the States, training mixed martial art. I wanted to become a sort of like having a career in MMA. So I had actually my MMA debut close to Las Vegas. I broke my nose, but I won by knockout. It was a very nice experience. But eventually I realized that the conventional career was not for me. I was having all the passion and the love for the sport, but I needed to shake too many hands in order to get right there. And eventually right there is where there is a sort of social acknowledgement for you being a fighter, or you being, I don't know, an architect, or being or whatever. But I didn't need to have any social acknowledgement. It was just me having the passion for it, and I realized that all this little hands shaking was actually releasing a lot of passion, a lot of purity for the sport. When it comes to living expenses, I guess it's very important to understand that the first thing, the main aim here is to truly be completely off-grid. So food has already been planted. I'm waiting, I guess, still a couple of months in order to start harvesting more. I'm already harvesting a lot of mankeni, that is cocoa yam, as well yam, plantain, bananas. Is something that I'm already harvesting. I'm growing even more in order to truly guarantee myself a self-sustainable nutrition. Therefore, my expenses would be nothing else than my energy to place the work that I need to place in order to eat, in order to provide for myself. As for this one, has been built in order to create a hole. So was called Asiedu Hole. You sit, you learn, because it was the place where we would have come in and silently reconnecting to the ancient ways. It was all covered by Kente print as well. But eventually, what's happened is that the rainy season all of a sudden kicked in, and a bunch of water was around, and all the seeds that I planted were not growing. So it was more important for me to create a safe place for the plants in order to grow safely and strongly. Therefore, I converted this hole into a greenhouse. This is a rubber that was used in order to cover the old structure that we tried to build before with the mud house. Was only mud, was no sticks. But the rain arrived so much, we tried to cover it with this, but it didn't work. So it's been recycled, and the whole concept of the whole greenhouse is actually recycled as well. So a bunch of stuff that myself I used as well that I found around here, I recollect them and started to place dirt inside, soil inside, and I started to plant different seeds. Eventually, all of these seeds have been now transferred into the garden. So there's still few peppers here, but most of them has gone. When it comes to electricity, I don't need it, to be honest. I'm going with the rhythm of the day. I do have solar light. I have a few lamps, solar lamps. There right now, some of them are getting spoiled because of the rain. So eventually, maybe I will get some more as well. I'm having some candle light. So I'm usually using palm oil in order to have these lights, and the palm oil is locally produced. I have myself some palms going on, but I didn't do any palm oil yet. So there's some uncles and aunties from the village that are giving to me some of the oil. If not, I'm going to the market and get it as well. So far that I'm still waiting for the food to grow properly, as pepper, as onions, as garlic, as tomatoes, as watermelon. There's a bunch of things growing. And meanwhile, I'm going to the local market, which is about, there's different local markets. The one that I'm going usually is about maybe 15 minutes ride with a bike. So this is the first place area where I kind of settle myself in. And so as you can see on my back, there's the bell tent. That's where I'm sleeping. It's a transitional bell tent. Soon the house will be ready. As well, here there are some hammocks, as well the toilet, as well right there is the shower. So the shower has been created as a sort of platform lifted from the ground. And during the dry season, the water will be collected, and with the same water we would watering the plants. There was a bucket over there during the dry season, but right now with the wet season coming in, so it's more easy on this side. As for the toilet, I am having a sort of a bucket system. So there's usually in this area, in this rural area, people are having the big hole that goes down, and eventually the defecation would like kind of, transform itself into compost within years and years. But nobody's really able to reach there because it's just left as a hole. But as for me, I actually decided to create a sort of bucket system. So every time it gets full, I place it in a hole that is not that big. It's a hole like about 1 meter diameter and depth of a hole. I place everything there, even all my food, organic matter, everything goes in there. After about 8 months, 1 year, it becomes fine fertilizer. Some of it I'm already using it, and it is literally legit. And as well, the colors of the toilet has been used. I use the Kente fabric, the Kente print, so that even during a number 2 we can reconnect to our ancestral way. Each pattern of the Kente is actually really serious. Every pattern, every color has a very deep meaning that is connected to a very deep stories of oneself and of our ancestors as well. So I believe the poo time is a meditation station. So when we sit down, we reconnect finally. Whatever we do here is a reconnection for real. different ways I'm getting my water from. The best way, the one that I like the most, is the rainwater. When it rains, oh, there's this very beautiful water coming in. Right here, luckily, we're still very far away from a sort of urbanized place, therefore there's no much of pollution. The rain is still very beautiful, but especially is what has been drunk for centuries, literally, around these areas. And it is known for having even medical properties as well. In case it's not of a rainy season, then I actually built a water well. That was the first project I had when I first arrived here, because I needed to understand if water was available even during the dry season. So I dig, the water was not there. But eventually, when I came back this year, the water was there. And apparently when the rainy season arrives, it fills all the aquifers, and then eventually they're filtering through the water in the hole. So we have some nice water over there as well. But in case I wanted to have, let's say, during the dry season, sometimes this water well can get emptied, and therefore there's another water well that is about 1 kilometer away from here, and that water is seriously nice as well. It's been drunk by the various villagers around that area, and in that case I will go there with a sort of a tank and then come back with the tank. And the usage of water here is about 20 liters a day for me myself. I use a lot to drink, bath, maybe do some laundry, and if I don't do laundry, there will be some extra for the day after as well. So everything, the consumption is just minimum. It's just really what is needed. And even having that water walk, actually going all the way to the water well 1 kilometer away and get the water and come back with the water on your head is really such a therapeutical things to do, that not only a physical activity, literally natural gym, but especially it's like really humbling oneself to understand how precious is water and how precious is everything in life, how nothing can be taken for granted. As in the West, we just open a tap and whatever comes out. There's no connection with the source. So again, this kind of lifestyle brings connections all around and makes one individual more, I believe, literally more lovable. Indeed, in all the places that I've been around the world, more rural I was getting, more simple I was getting, and more lovable were the people, more welcoming were the people. This is something that we're definitely gonna get involved with even during the retreat program. It's gonna be practical workshops, where we will learn by experiencing, understanding not only theoretically but especially practically how to work with natural resources, local, present, natural, raw resources, in order to build, in order to create, in order to eat, in order to do whatever is necessary. And I have to say, I must say that working with the mud is so therapeutical. It's like there's something about it that is so about it. So right now, all I'm doing right now is dressing. The main layer has been already applied with a texture that has been mainly clay. And right now, this is very different. It's more fluffy, less like dense, and it's more in order to cover the whole wall. I've been here mainly by myself. It's not easy to be here by myself, mainly for the various tasks that I need to be accomplished in the day, every day. But as well, I have to say, there's some like local, like the villagers in the nearby. The closer village is about 2 kilometers away from here, 1 to 2 kilometers away from here. So it's not there so neighbors, but yeah, sometimes some people are coming through and some people are helping. With some people I'm just like enjoying. We had like some nice like tournaments with the various beach here that we have, volleyball, archery and basketball and so on. So it's not like complete solitude, but most of my time, yes, I'm alone. As for feeling lonely, I believe is a bit of a concept, because I don't see myself as one individual. I'm the results of everything, of the air that I'm breathing, of the plants that I'm walking around with, of the soil that I'm stepping on. of the rain that is dropping. Literally, I'm physically the result of all of it. Like literally, without all of it, I wouldn't be myself physically, even consciously. Therefore, feeling lonely is something that I don't think I can biologically, realistically, scientifically, and spiritually ever feel lonely here. Meanwhile, I have to say that it's hard a lot of time to put all this village together on my own. When it comes to the vision, yes, I feel lonely in this vision of creating something that might create certain changes, yes, within myself and within whoever wants to come eventually, and within, eventually, by a ripple effect, our society, within our society as well, our mainstream society. But yeah, I wouldn't say I feel lonely, but I'm quite isolated in this process, that's for sure. The reason of this mirror was, so I place it this way, and you see the wind makes it rotating. So meaning that if I want, whoever is here wants to look at himself or herself in the mirror, needs to hold the mirror. Meaning that it needs to kind of hold his or her own vanity. And it's a sort of a vanity awareness check kind of thing. But then happened that a storm arrived and he dropped the mirror and he broke the middle part. Just kind of in a half, but the mirror was still there. So I decided to clean it all. And so right now it became a sort of what I like to call the realistical mirror. Because when we look at ourselves, we need to hold it first of all to see our vanity. We can see ourselves on these sides, but when we look at ourselves at the middle, of the core of it, we can see nothing else than nature. Because eventually that's what I believe, we are nothing else than nature. So when we are truly willing to observe the core of ourselves, within we see us as a yeah. And so as well, sometimes I end up going to the village, to the nearby village called Mancron. It's one of the closest, and over there's a bunch of people that by now, yeah, has become family. And so even just walking there sometimes is so peaceful, so beautiful, with the sun like going down, and even taking the time is something that is beautiful around here. Not rushing and taking the time, and this even creates a lot of different interaction with the various people that are living on the road as well. So a lot of people are screaming my name, and I give my greetings back. So it gives that kind of a community vibe. Bottom line, yeah, to build this place, I'm quite alone, but even on this term, there's every now and then people that are coming and helping in a very community vibe way. So when I came first 2 years ago, was definitely more of I felt more lonely during that time, especially because I was really trying to adapt to this reality and trying to understand if this lifestyle was possible in this environment according to the knowledge that I had. And eventually, yes, I started to get more and more in contact with the local villagers, and I started to create a sort of family here. But one thing that happened is that I was having this Instagram page. It was a small Instagram page, and I was trying to share whatever I was doing with friends and people that wanted to be kind of update. And this, I've seen that there was much more interest from different people, even that I didn't know, about this kind of lifestyle, about this kind of reality and simplicity. People started to reach out about willing to come and to visit and so on. And so this happened, like few people came, a group of people as well came around. And then I realized that this place has really the potential to allow me to live here, but especially to host in a sort of safe way people from the West, people willing to have a taste of this kind of lifestyle. So when I came back here, the main intention actually was to create this retreat program, a retreat program that would last for 7 days. And in these 7 days there would be many different activities, as pottery workshop, as culinary workshops, as palm wine workshops, as indigenous agriculture workshop, as indigenous building / permacultural workshops. As well, there would be all that is basically rooted in this culture, in this way of being, in order to allow the guests to learn. And so I came here with this approach, and I started to build the place in order to host these retreats And then the coronavirus arrived, so the borders got closed. I had actually people willing to come from overseas as well, but the borders got closed. So during that time I realized that I couldn't be in any better place. I couldn't be stuck in any better place, and that's what actually created this sort of a switch in my mind from having this place as a sort of retreat program vibe to creating my own home purely here. So the story right now is that after colonization, the locals as well, they see the West as the best, literally. Whatever is coming from the West is the best, regardless if it's a product, hairstyling, way of clothing, or even skin color. Whatever is coming from the West is the best. That is the belief. So right now, by having, and there's a sort of, it's quite known that people from the West, they tend to come in Africa with this kind of savior concept, you know, the savior complex. They come in here, oh, I need to save Africa, I need to give them pencils, I need to give them books, I need to give them... And again, Africa does not need help. It needs to be respected and seen for what it is, which is the mother of humanity. Therefore, having people from the West coming without this mentality, but finally approaching a mentality of, I'm going to Africa to learn. I'm going back to Africa to learn, because myself, I have a lot to learn from the locals. I have a lot to learn from the indigenous people. I have a lot to learn from the indigenous land. So this, I hope, that will create a sort of boomerang effect towards the locals and thinking, hey, I thought that the West is the best, but right now these Westerners are coming here willing to learn from me, willing to learn from a farmer. So I hope that this will eventually increase their self-esteem and allow them to be more proud of who they are, that eventually they need to be proud of themselves, because without these farmers, the whole Africa, the whole Ghana would have been, the whole Africa would have been, but the whole world wouldn't be, because most of the resources in the world are coming from these farmers, are coming from this way of living, to these rural people. And so I hope that the retreat will create this sort of effect on both sides, monetarily, but especially culturally and psychologically. On the other side, to allowing the Westerners to come and to learn. We tried our best in order to show you as much as possible. And if you are actually interested into coming, really interested into trying at least to experience something different, trying to experience something that might lead towards a different personal lifestyle as well, then don't hesitate to contact me. You can go to my Instagram page, Live to Learn, Learn to Live. Over there you can see my email. It's been another day, it's been another blessing so far. I wish you all the best. And one last thing, if I can say it, is whatever is in your heart, whatever it might be, a dream of yours, a passion of yours, just follow it. It's better to live without regret than living with maybe with a lifestyle that might be conventional, but eventually not really what we desired. So we have to try. There's going to be failures, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, but all of this is going to be part of the journey, part of the learning process. So don't be afraid to learn, don't be afraid to live. That's why I live to learn, learn to live all day, every day, for real.